Welcome back to Trekyards, everybody. He is Commander Calkins.
He's Captain Foley!
And today we're here to talk about something really fun. But before we do, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that like button. Starting me off a little different this time. Do the things now so you don't forget to do them later.
And, while you're there, look at our channel and take a mental note. Come back very soon, see the full breakdown on the exterior and interior of this ship. We are, of course, doing a first reaction because this was emotionful for the audience, and we wanted to do a what do we see, what do we notice before we do this really big deep dive into both the exterior model, the interior sets, with a lot of shots. Those will be long videos, so get yourselves primed for that. This is our first reaction, and, you know, to express how it felt to see back on screen again. Here is the first Why Do We See, Stuart. Give me your thoughts when it came up on screen.
Happy to see it. Rich colors, like that carpet just pops. The wood. I mean, it was just great to be back here, honestly. We have seen this returned in Prodigy in the episode Kobayashi Maru. Things looked a little squashed and a little off.
Yes, scaled based on the smaller people versus the real scale.
Yeah. This felt exactly as it should, and it was beautiful. And the lighting, yes, it's like 90%, 91, 92% where it was in TNG. There's a few darker areas. It's a little more cinematic, but
yeah, I mean,
anyway,
in fact, you know, you can see it's almost pitch black below the captain's chair. It was never pitch black below the captain's chair, right? So that they just load it a bit, but you know, just to note.
But overall, super happy. We had kind of known this was coming for multiple reasons, and yeah, happy to see it. So, what about you? What did you think?
Well, I've heard many people, they sort of cried in various forms of emotion. Where did it hit you? Any of those giant feels?
Not yet. I find when I watch it the first time, I'm like in a different mindset because I'm getting like screen caps and doing things, and just kind of. It's usually when I watch it later, and not my second time around either, because second time is for like subtitles and stuff like that. It's when I watch it my third time with Sylvia upstairs after supper. That's generally when I get emotional and stuff, which is which is kind of weird, honestly, because I know exactly what's coming, but that's when it kind of hits me. So it hasn't hit me in that way yet. I was just knew it was coming. I was excited to see it. We'll see how I feel later.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and for me, it was, you know, as I said in a previous video, we knew some variation of this was coming, and with modern technology, you could have had just the back half with a green screen in the front. You could have had all sorts of, you know, all the alcoves be green screen, right? There's a variation, but we've seen behind the scenes pictures. This is all real. They fully recreated the TV hero set, and, you know, you might think it's a simple set. There's not that much physically going on, but it's all of the curves. It's the pure engineering manic craziness that involves having a real ceiling that's all curves. You know, this was very difficult for them back in the day, and they achieved it, and it held up, and physically, and it's a difficult thing to build, really.
And to recreate it, to get all the right fabrics, the right materials, the right textures, the right colors. There's a lot to think about.
Yeah,
so
you're not building it for the first time where people judge you on how cool it is. You're building it to look the same. You know, if the suede is 10% too shiny on the inner, you know, the inner chair, etc., of the you know, that'll feel like something. So it was a mammoth task, and, you know, to a crazy person like Terry Matalas to insist this is going to happen in full. And certainly, I imagine this was a playground for people off camera, because just every crew member on every department, I'm sure, got to walk in the set. You know, I was lucky enough to be on 2 replicas in my life, both a lot younger, so I sort of remember them. Like, you know, they're not as crisp as I would have now, but, you know, people on the show, I'm sure, just be on this set, and, you know, who got to take the chairs home, because, you know, are they really going to dumpster this stuff? CBS is like that, but I mean, you know, you built a con, just take it home.
They should know by now, if they're rebuilding stuff like this, to just store it, save it, take it to conventions.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, certainly you built it. You'd think put it in a Vegas attraction. You've saved them, you know, $800,000. You know, I mean, people pay how much to be on this, or to give it to James Cawley, but not they did. It's like they had a set anyway. My reaction to this, Stuart, so this will preamble. It is fantastic, but it's surreal. That's what I see at this shot. It's like, I know this set so well. I've rendered with it, really accurate replica. I know the colours. I've stared at the wallpaper colour to get it right. I've stared at the everything for hours and hours and hours. It's amazing, but it's different. And it's weird, but it's the same. But also seeing our actors in leather, weird uniforms looking much older on this classic. It's like a digital screen cap, right? It's like a Photoshop, but it's real. It's a very surreal thing to look at, with the two giant caveats, apart from just the physical feel, is that it's being filmed for the first time not on a physical film camera. TNG was all shot on 35mm, I believe, as was the feature. So it was processed in a certain way. This is fully digital, so that does look different. Just innately, that will always look different. If you shot TOS, the same camera, same difference, it'll be different. And also color grading, how we judge what a color grade is, how much value we put on saturation, how dark the blacks should be, how bright the highlight should be. The fact that if you look at this first shot, the middle, and I'm talking a lot here, but this is what I thought as an artist. You know, the middle bit of the ceiling is bright, while the edge is darker, because they've got a vignetting effect to create a bit more depth in the image. These are things they didn't do back then. So all of these color and grade differences are also making it feel just different. And it would be extremely difficult to replicate the exact vibe, because everything between the set and the final is now different. Every single element. So it's going to feel different. That's my overall thought.
Yeah, I thought it felt very much more like we saw it in Generations, almost, just with the lighting. A little more cinematic and different from the TV show. But you're right, having them in different uniforms and stuff definitely affects that as well. And but overall, I'm super stoked to see it back, and the fact that they rebuilt it and used the budget in this way is very impressive to me. And I'd like to thank Terry Metalis and everybody involved, because that is fantastic. So we can excuse the other episodes where we all the same corridor 15 times, and you can see where they were just trying to save money, because they were originally stretched for budget on this one. So at least they took the time to do this, so I appreciate that immensely.
Because, like I say, this could have been, $900,000 to make, $1 million, 1.2 million. I mean, you don't build bridges very often. Like even guest bridges on guest TV shows, you see where they cut the corners just to get the walls up and basic console reused. This is all original made. You don't do this very often. When they did Tomorrow Darkly, it was 2 episodes of budget that took. That's a far simpler bridge to make, etc. But if you cut to the other 2 shots, again, it's so strange, because we know it, but it's different. Everything about it is just a little bit different, but it's all also identical. It's a very strange feeling. It's different when you watch it on the show, the sort of vibe with the music, but stills, they all look photoshopped, right? They all look like hyper real, Is
it just me, or is there like a mist or a fog kind of over all these images? It just seems like there's something in the air. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so happy to see it back. And again, I'm glad they didn't do the Generations bridge. Don't get me wrong, I really love the Generations bridge with the panels on the side. I think that looks really great. But when you're reuniting the TNG cast with and want that feel, this is where we lived on the ship for 7 years of the show. So, of course, they're going to recreate it like this. I'm glad they did that, and I'm glad they didn't go with the last version of the bridge, which was the Generations one. So
that weird step in the middle.
Yeah,
I'm sure Worf's thinking, "Damn it, where's my seat gone?" I thought almost a decade for a seat, but he can deal with it. But
now I'm old. I got old knees.
But, Klingon knees, they're double strong. Double forehead, double knees. Warriors, don't you know? What sticks out to me the most, I think, is the general shade of yellow of the walls. They look more yellowy than I would associate. I would give them more of a orange, and like I say, I've color matched, color graded my own digital version, which I have. Here's some stills of shots from my films with my bridge that I textured. Now, but again, there's a difference of, like we said, uniforms, right? There's the what actually was on screen versus what was filmed. I know that like some of the uniforms are more of a wine color, but people say something bright red. Like I'm wearing a wine, it looks red. right, I can change this to look like this, but, so is that the true colour swatch of the walls, which now it's faithfully recreated digitally accurately, but not what we think it should look like? But wouldn't you want to see the true?
Well, that's the weird thing, yeah. Like, QMX even does this. They have like versions of like the screen accurate look as opposed to the in person look. They're totally different. So I don't know. Maybe that's the case.
Because for me, that bottom picture is superior to the top picture in terms of vibe. It feels like there's something about it that just feels holy hell. That's from Generations, but you've digitally aged them all. The top one feels more like a disconnect. I think it's just the yellow of the walls. Now they could change it as a hue slider in post. Maybe I'll do that for our breakdown. Like, can I change the hue of the yellow to try and match what I think it should be? These aren't complaints. They're just what my brain's seeing, because I know why. Right? It's all these grading things.
And be sure to tune in for because we will look and compare it to how it's appeared over the years. So
what's fun is that you can tell when they showed this single scene, they shot so many angles of the bridge just to really highlight. Oh no,
we built it all.
We're showing like it was there's so many reference images to replicate and to find, etc. Really, really hell of a good thing. Another thing that's also subtle that you wouldn't necessarily think of is that, of course, the back wall is now screens, LED screens. In the olden days, they were plastic,
plexiglass,
basically. Like, it was just light shining through, and so you had the distortion of it going through glass, distortion of it, the color differential of like the light would change over time, how just age, etc. So when you associate TNG with the L cars, you associate a big, bold, bright orange, and of course change throughout the seasons quite drastically. But they were far more muted. This is far more accurate. It actually loses a ton of that pop you associate. But I know as an audience member, like who knows, this is far more Mike Okuda, what he was going for. But I associate more with a bright orange. So it's another thing where it's like it's more muted than it could be, but it's just more balanced as it should be, technically.
Yeah, that's the one thing that stood out to me a bit was the less bright Alcars. I loved. Don't get me wrong. I love when they fired them up though.
Oh god,
like that fire up sequence was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But they do seem a little bit off in that regard. A little bit more muted and not as poppy.
Because we do know this set. Our brains are trained, right? So but I can sense the build is identical. Ironically, I know the carpet's perfect. The carpet to me reads entirely. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the same for you, but it feels perfect.
Yep, it does, and I appreciate Patrick Stewart or Picard. Missed the carpet. Missed the carpet. Yeah, I love that.
Boy, that day on set was so comfortable walking around. There's no shy squeeze and ew. There's no scuff marks. Great.
Didn't sound like a basketball court when people were walking. Yeah.
No glares. Because boy, how much easier to see on this bridge. I mean, it's clear, it's crisp, it's bright, it's vibrant. God, it's nice. Andrew Probert back in the 80s. I mean, my God, this bridge looks as good design-wise. It looks sleek, simple, advanced, elegant, functional. I mean, God, it
still looks more advanced to me than the Titan Bridge. So
there's no gimmicks apart from the wraparound wood because that's aesthetic versus functional, right? No, absolutely incredible. I mean, if they were smart, CBS, they would have put this in storage and do an Enterprise D like a Galaxy show. This would have been you could do a whole season just with the one set. They could have made a whole show with this bridge. Jeez, but no, full breakdown to come, guys, because this will be a tour de force.
And then hopefully next episode we'll get some answers whether they actually built a ready room, because it'd be cool to have him have a conversation in the ready room. But that's a whole other set, so not necessarily sure that's the case, but we'll wait and see. So, but yes, please join us for those that complete comparison breakdown video. We love doing those. You love watching them, and if you loved watching this one as a preamble to that, by all means hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to notify yourself with the notification bell icon so you don't miss any content we do. We do lots of edited content and lots of lives, so please join us for all that.
We're a community here, so join that community by joining the lives, say hi, put in a super chat, say your 2 cents with hopefully like $5, whatever you want. Just say your piece, say something that will help control a conversation. Something you notice this. You worked on the original set in the 80s and you think this, boom, let us know. Say it to the audience and have a 2 cents heard, etc. or monthly, support what we do here. All of our free videos, 'cause everything is free. It's you guys' choice to support us or not. So if you want to and can, support us monthly by Patreon or join the channel on YouTube. Each monthly, each great ways to help the channel. If all of you give $10 each month, it really mounts up quickly. Or one-time donations, like I said, the super chats, super thanksings on any video. If you love the Enterprise D Bridge, let us know with the super thanks right now. Thank you. Or PayPal, trekyards@hotmail.com. All great ways. And we thank you in advance because it's a fun old ride for us, Stuart.
It is indeed. And please enjoy our fleet video, which you can be a part of if you haven't already joined the channel. So until next time, here's Commander Coffee.
Foley.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.